This video demonstrates how to interact with MySQL databases using simple servlet programming. To do this experiment, in my machine, there is a Tomcat. This is a place where we host our servlet programs. That means compiled servlet programs .class files, and there should be a MySQL database. So in my computer, Tomcat is available, MySQL is available. So what we are going to do is that we'll be writing a simple HTML form with two fields. One is name and the department name. When user enters name and department and submits the data, these details will be submitted to MySQL database. Here I have created a table called as employee EMP, which consists of two columns. One is name and department. So what are the values provided by the user will be stored in the table called as EMP. To do this activity, we take a help of a servlet program. So there will be a form servlet which nicely takes input from the client and submits that particular input, whatever provided by the user, to the MySQL table called as EMP. At the same time, after doing form, whatever the details that we have submitted to the MySQL table, we'll write a simple report to extract details from that particular table, and we'll show those details or the content of that particular EMP table on the web page. So we are going to write a simple form and a report. So this is what we are going to do. We'll see each and every file. For this purpose, I have written two HTML files. One is form.html and other is report.html. This is simple form submission. We'll be entering employee details, the name and name of the department. And when I press save employee details, those details will be stored in EMP table. That EMP table, before we do this, we need to create one EMP table. In my case, I have already created. So we'll see anyhow the already existing data of that EMP table in MySQL database. This is simple form. And a report.html. This is used to extract details from the table, provided any department name. For an example, if there is an employee table with different department names, and if you wanted to see the employee tables according to some department like CSEI, TEC, provided that information, when I press get employee table, employee details, I should see employee name, department name, and provided any salary or any other attributes that are related to EMP table, I need to see in the web page. So when I press this, I should see those information. Let us see the source code of these two HTML files. When I press submit button in the form, what is happening? I have written an action that request will be redirected to form servlet. This is a servlet that I have been created in order to take input from this particular form. Okay, we need to write this form servlet program. It's a Java file and we need to host in Apache Tomcat. This is a folder name. It is my project folder name, JDBC demo. Now we'll see form servlet.java. When the request is redirected to form servlet.java, how the program should look like. So here we'll take a little bit time to see each and every instruction carefully. We need to import these packages in order to make use of SQL utilities. So we need to import these two packages, and in order to utilize the servlet, we need to import these two packages. Java IO is used for printliter class, and Java util need not to be considered for this program. You need not import the java.util. Here you see I've used a doPost method because from HTML form I'm using a method called as method equals to post. That's why I've used a method called as doPost. Otherwise you can go for doGet also, not a problem. Here is a printliter I have taken. The reference of the printliter is out. The important line. In order to connect to MySQL, we need to create the driver. We need to register for a driver. An instance of this particular driver has to be created during execution. We have a method called as class.forName, which will create an instance for MySQL driver. This is a simple string we are passing as an argument for this method. If you look at this string, com.mysql.jdbc.driver is the name of the class. It's a name of the class provided by the vendor MySQL. I will tell you that jar file, we need to set a class path which is related to MySQL's jar file, because during execution your program will look for a jar file that is related to MySQL. That jar file name is MySQL-connector. After demonstrating this program, I will show you where that connector jar file will be available. If not available, how to download it and how to set class path. These details anyhow I'll tell you. Right. So once after creating an instance for MySQL driver, because if not MySQL, the same line here, the name of the class name will change for Oracle. In the same way, it will change for IBM's DB2. So anyhow, the program will be anyhow similar for any kind of database other than this particular line. This line tells you what kind of driver it has to use. So in our case, we are using MySQL driver. We need to create these three parameters. One is URL, username, password. I am using, if you look at this URL, localhost 3306. 3306 is a place where MySQL runs. It's the default port number of MySQL. So I am getting connected to MySQL. This test is the name of the database. It's the name of the database that we are going to use. Right. It's my username and password. And soon after that, we need to create a connection. We create a connection using driver manager.get connection. Get connection is a method which takes three parameters: URL, username, and password. Once after taking these three parameters, we'll create a statement using connection object. We'll execute a method called as create statement. Now statement is ready. Using this statement, we can execute any SQL statement. Right. Our intention is to store the details provided by form.html to a table called as emp. To do this, I have used request.get parameter. This ename is a text field name that is provided in form.html. DEPT is a text field name of another text field name. So what are the values that is provided in these two text fields? I am storing in variables called as x and y. Okay. Now we are going to create an SQL statement. I am trying to insert these two values. Insert into employee, the table name employee. Imagining that table name employee is already emp. Table named emp is already available in MySQL. Imagining that we are trying to insert these two values, x as well as y. And once after creating this SQL, this string SQL will be passed to a method called as execute update. We need to execute this SQL statement by calling a method called as execute update. This is a method name. And we need to call this method using the instance statement. This statement we have created using connection object already. So using this statement, we need to execute this method. If you have done everything correctly, then you will be seeing this statement on the web page that record successfully inserted. And in case if you wanted to insert one more record on the same page, I've used a request dispatcher. This is the instance name RD. I'm asking this request dispatcher to include my file form.html by executing a method called as include. I'm including that request and response because I wanted to, soon after seeing that record successfully inserted, if I wanted to insert one more value, again I need not to go to form.html. There itself I wanted to have a form.html. That's why I've included that file in the current page itself. Okay. Right. We need to throw two kinds of exceptions here because we are using class.forLine. In case if this driver is not unavailable during execution, an exception will be thrown saying that class not found exception. So it's very important to set the class path to MySQL-connector. Otherwise, we'll get this exception, class not found exception. And in case if you do any mistake, this is a simple string according to Java, but this is an SQL command according to SQL. So when you visit to the database, if your connection is successful, your request will be redirected to MySQL database through Apache Tomcat. At the time, in case if you have typed this values as only value by missing this simple letter S, it's a SQL syntax because the keyword should be values. It should not be value. So these kind of exceptions should be caught at a database level. That's why we need to catch a SQL exception. This is how our form.html looks like. In the same way, we have a report.form. As in the way we have formservlet.java. Just we have seen formservlet.java. Now we are going to see how this report servlet has written. In the report servlet, the request will be redirected to this particular class from report.html. There I have written form action equals to report servlet. So the class name here it is report servlet. So what it does means it takes only one value from user. That value I am storing in a variable called as Z. User will be providing the department name. Based on this department name, I am selecting all employee details. Okay. So this is the SQL I have prepared in a simple variable called as SQL. And then I am printing the employee details. So in the web page, you will be seeing employee details. And later on, because in order to store the result that is getting from database, we have to use a result set. In Java, we have a result set, and the other option is row set objects. Any one of these two can be used to store the results that we get from our database. It just works like a cursor, a simple cache memory where the result of this particular set will be available. And we can modify it, and we can print it, we can do anything by holding that result. Okay. So anyhow, our instance name is RS. Using RS, we can extract the details from employee. Right. I've used a simple table, HTML table, to see the results in a particular pattern, in a table pattern. So I've taken an HTML table. As long as your result set are in result set, anyhow, I passed a variable called as SQL. During the creation of a result set, the statement dot execute query will be executed. So in SQL, the statement is already written. So the result, whatever result set will hold the return values of this SQL statement. Select start from EMP where department equals to Z. But if Z value is CSE, then all CSE employee details will be available in SQL in RS result set instance RS. Using this RS, as long as it's a simple iterator, automatic iterator, as long as the result set is not empty, we are going to do this activity. We are storing these details in ename and dept using rs.getString. This is the name of the column in the table. The first row we are fetching the first row's information in the first column. We have a table called as EMP in MySQL where first column is name and the second column is dept. So in the result set, the first row's first column's information I am storing in ename. First row's second column's information is stored in dept. As soon as I get this information into ename and dept variables, I am trying to print it in the table. By the next time, automatic iterator will take you to the second row. Second row's first column's information again will be get stored in ename. Second column's information will be kept in dept. Again, we are going to print. So this iterator will run as long as there exists a row in the result set. After doing that, as in the way we have seen in the previous file, we need to catch these two exceptions, class not found exception and SQL exception. So it's a simple program. The same test I'm using with the username, password as the way we have seen in the previous file. This is how the report servlet.java file looks like. Right. I have already written a web.xml file. Before we see this web.xml file, let's execute these two Java files. These two files are available in desktop. So I have only these two files, any number of characters followed by .java. Two files I am trying to compile at a time. Right, compilation is done. Compilation is successful. Now I have generated the class files for form.servlet and the report servlet.class. In order to host these two classes in Apache Tomcat, let's create our project directory. Let the name of project directory be JDBC demo, because this is the name that I have used in the URL pattern. There should be a folder called as webinf, and there should be a folder called as classes. Inside these classes, now I am going to copy the classes whatever just compiled. So here there should be a web.xml file. Let's have a look at this web.xml file. We have two classes. One is form servlet and other is report servlet. Okay, for form servlet, the servlet name and URL pattern I have used the same name, form servlet. For report servlet, also in order to avoid confusion, I just named the servlet name and had a URL pattern with the same name. Right, this is our web.xml file. Let's keep this web.xml file in webinf folder. Okay, so this is the place where you see webinf. Here is a place where we store our HTMLs. This is our report.html and form.html. Let's keep these two here. Okay, right. So when I open this JDBC demo, there will be webinf. Two HTML files are copied here. In webinf, there will be a classes folder which consists of these two classes and a web.xml file. Or project folder is ready now. Now we are ready to deploy our application in Apache Tomcat. Before we do it, we need to start the service of Apache Tomcat. In my case, Apache Tomcat is available in home directory. In bin, there will be a file called as startup.sh. We need to start the service of Tomcat. I've used a command sudo because we need to start the service using root credentials. Tomcat is started successfully. Now we can deploy our application. Before that, because as we had an entire folder, in 2 ways we can deploy. As you know that I already had a video on how to deploy an application, servlet application, simple servlet application. In case if you are not aware, then please watch that video, how to deploy a simple servlet in Apache Tomcat. In 2 ways we can do it, simply copying this file, this entire folder in Apache Tomcat's web apps folder. That is one way. The second way is to create a WebArchive file. So I recommend to create a WebArchive file, expecting that in case Apache Tomcat is not available in your own machine, then if it is available in some other machine, then we cannot do copy paste activity. At that time, we need to know how to create a WebArchive file. So we need to go to JDBC demo folder and use this command jar cvf. Jar means Java archive file. JDBC demo.war file I am going to create. The name of the war file I kept it as JDBC demo because this is used as a pattern in URL in formation of both HTMLs, form.html and report.html. Right. We have successfully created a war file. That war file now will be available in a folder called as JDBC demo. So this war file now, if we host successfully in Apache Tomcat, then we can see the execution. Right. As I told you that I will tell you, in order to connect to MySQL using Apache Tomcat, I already mentioned that there should be we need to set a class path. The name of the class path, the name of the jar file is mysql-connector.jar file. This file has to be set as part of class path. Now we'll see where this mysql-connector.jar file will be available. Actually, this file will come with your MySQL installation itself. When you install MySQL in your computer, this file will be available in bin folder. In case if you are unable to locate that particular file, it's not a matter. It takes less than 1 minute for you to download this file, simple from Google. Google it and try to type download MySQL-connector. Then you will find so many links. Go to any particular link. Then you will be able to download a zip file, extract that zip file. You will get this folder. Place that folder wherever you want. When you open it, you'll be able to see this MySQL-connector with some version, at least with 5.1. Okay, this jar file is very important for us. Please copy this jar file, and you have to copy this jar file in the place where you had Apache Tomcat. Go to the place where Apache Tomcat you had in your computer. Go that particular location. Go to lib, means library. Paste here. Okay, in my case, I've already done it. This is very important to have a jar file in Tomcat's library folder, because we'll be hosting a class file during the execution of class file. Basically, your class files will be executed by your Tomcat JRE, Java Runtime Environment. During that time, your program has to link up with this particular jar file. Otherwise, you will get a class not found exception. Okay, it's very important to have your jar file in Tomcat's library. Now, you need to set class path. Copy this entire path. In case of Windows, you can go to My Computer, Advanced Settings, Environment Variables, where you can set your class path. In case of Ubuntu or Linux Mint, you have to edit a file called as environment. Okay, so here I have already set my class path. I'll show you the value for class path, for the variable class path. You do not mind all these values, but what is the value that is important for us is that this one. Inside Apache Tomcat lib up to here we have pasted, and nicely we should also type this jar file up to here. Okay, so why do we need to set class path? Means during execution, your Tomcat will look for an entry called as mysql-jar file. So your computer should know where this is actually available to provide this to Tomcat. Okay, it will look at into lib folder, and this will be linked with the help of class path variable only. If you do not set this class path, then your machine will not be knowing that this file is available in bin directory, lib directory of Apache Tomcat. So it's very important to set class path. And the same way, of course, you may be knowing, if you know how to deploy a simple servlet application, then servlet-api.jar file should be part of class path. In the same way, here, in order to connect with the MySQL database, we should have a mysql-connector.jar file. Okay, so very simple. Other two values you do not mind. This is related to my other applications. In case of Linux Mint or Ubuntu, as soon as you set class path, you please log off your account and re-log in order to see the effect of class path. Right, everything is done. We are ready to deploy the application. Go to localhost 8080 Tomcat's web page. Log in there, and in the applications. In the applications, you please go to the place where we need to select that WAR file. Go there and select JDBC. This is the WAR file that we have created. Open, deploy, and make sure the value is true, saying that your application is ready to access. Our application is started. Right now, we can see the execution. So before that, I'll show you whether that table is available in MySQL or not, because we are doing everything with employee table emp. So let me log into. I'm using the credentials, my own credentials. So I'm using a database called as test. Okay. So let me select start from emp, because emp is already created in my case. It's an empty set. Okay. Let's see the definitions of emp here. We have two columns are there with character types, string types, name and department. Okay, it's an empty set. Initially, it is an empty set. Now we are going to insert some values in it, and we need to extract those details again back to the web page. Okay, right. After inserting, let's see here whether values have been successfully inserted or not, and then we'll execute a report. This is our form.html. Look at this URL. JDBC is our folder name. Form.html is already there. Right. So here I am providing some names. Name. Let the name of the person be ABC, who belongs to CSC department. Okay. So I am submitting the data. Right. Record successfully inserted, and using request dispatcher, I got back my form.html without going back to that form.html. In this particular servlet only, I will enter the values again. ABC is already inserted. Okay. I'll let it be other employee name CSC. Done. Some other name who belongs to EC. Okay. 3 employee names have been submitted to the database. One is ABC, ABC and Satish, who belongs to CSC, and Mahesh, who belongs to ECE. Let me check it out in MySQL table whether these values successfully inserted in the table or not. Right. Good that these 3 values have came to the database table emp. Now let's execute a report, because in case if I wanted to see the details from the database, okay, I'll execute this report.html. Right. So I'll enter some department name. In case if I enter the department name as CSC, then select star from emp where department name equals to CSC. I should get the details. Okay, let's execute CSC first. and see the details. You see here. Okay, these two details have been successfully showed on the web page. Now let's execute that report.html again to see the details of some EC department. In EC we have only one person called as Mahesh. Okay, right. This is how we can interact with MySQL databases. It's a simple example how to submit data to database table and how to retrieve details from database table. I hope this video will help you to do small applications which will interact with a 3-tier applications which will interact with the databases. Okay. Thanks for watching my video. Thank you. And in the applications, you please go to the place where we need to select that WAR file. Go there and select JDBC. This is the WAR file that we have created. Open, deploy, and make sure the value is true, saying that your application is ready to access. Our application is started. Right now we can see the execution. So before that, I'll show you whether that table is available in MySQL or not, because we are doing everything with employee table EMP. So let me log into. I'm using the credentials, my own credentials. So I'm using a database called as test. Okay. So let me select start from EMP, because EMP is already created in my case. It's an empty set. Okay, let's see the definitions of EMP. We have two columns are there with character types, string types, name and department. Okay, it's an empty set. Initially it is an empty set. Now we are going to insert some values in it, and we need to extract those details again back to the web page. Okay, right. After inserting, let's see here whether values have been successfully inserted or not, and then we'll execute a report. This is our form.html. Look at this URL. JDBC is our folder name. Form.html is already there. Right. So here I am providing some names. Name, let the name of the person be ABC, who belongs to CS department. Okay, so I'm submitting data. Right, record successfully inserted, and using request dispatcher I got back my form.html without going back to that form.html. In this particular servlet only I will enter the values again. ABC is already inserted. Okay, I'll let it be other employee name CSC. Done. Some other name who belongs to EC. Okay, 3 employee names have been submitted to the database. One is ABC and Satish, who belongs to CSC, and Mahesh, who belongs to ECE. Let me check it out in MySQL table whether these values successfully inserted in the table or not. Right, good that these 3 values have came to the database table EMP. Now let's execute a report, because in case if I wanted to see the details from the database, okay, I'll execute this report.html. Right, so I'll enter some department name. In case if I enter the department name as CSE, then select star from EMP where department name equals to CSE. I should get the details. Okay, let's execute CSE first and see the details. You see here. Okay, these 2 details have been successfully showed on the web page. Now let's execute that report.html again to see the details of some EC department. In EC we have only one person called as Mahesh. Okay, right. This is how we can interact with MySQL databases. It's a simple example how to submit data to database table and how to retrieve details from database table. I hope this video will help you to do small applications which will interact with a 3-tier applications which will interact with the databases. Thanks for watching.
If you like my videos and if you want me to continue on YouTube channel, then please subscribe and switch on the notification bell.